What's up, going frying pan people? Welcome back to the kitchen. I don't know about you guys, but this was a cold week for me. Real cold week. It was just generally cold all throughout America. It was like the coldest it's been in like 100 years. And fun fact about me, I hate the cold. I hate it so much. You guys cannot fathom how much I hate the cold. I used to live in Texas, right, for the first 9 years of my life. I lived in Texas, and so whenever I came to move, I came to live in Ohio, right? Naturally, it was a little bit more cold, a little bit more often, right? To the point where I was always wearing a coat. Fun fact: indeed that was the initial reason why I wore my signature black trench coat. Well, that and also Medic from TF2. That's real. That is very real. I thought he looked cool, and I asked for a trench coat, and then I got my iconic trench coat. That was the first trench coat I got. Actually, if you go back to my old videos, you can see the original one. That one has been retired since then, but still, it is. It's something that I hate. The cold and my despising of it has affected my life in every part of it. Really, I mean, I don't know if you guys can believe this. I don't like it. It's just like I've always been a skinny kid, right? I've always been, not a lot of meat on my bones and all that kind of stuff. Um, and so it was like the cold goes right through me. And here's something about the cold, right? Whenever you're hot, I can deal with heat, right? I can deal with the heat way easier than I can deal with the cold because the heat feels so much more like natural, right? Whenever you're cold, that's all you can be, right? That's all you are. There's nothing you can really do to save yourself from the cold. The cold makes you tense up. It makes you freeze. It stops you from doing anything else, right? That's what the cold is. Um, Whenever you are cold, like whenever you're hot, there's nothing that you can really do. You can use other things to cool down, right? But there's not really a whole lot that you can actually feasibly do, right? You're just gonna be hot, right? You can like go for a swim or whatever, but you're just gonna be hot. But whenever you're cold, there is stuff you can do, but it's this sense of helplessness, right? Um, that that you will adopt, right? Because then, I'm stupid. Because then you have the ability to be better, right? You can warm yourself up, you can run and stuff like that, but the cold stops you. It slows you down. It removes your inhibition to do things, right? Because why would you do things whenever you're cold? It's miserable. It's terrible. It's the worst thing ever, right? It stops you from moving. It stops you from existing. It's genuinely the worst. And it's such a miserable state of being, right? It's the worst state to be in. It's so terrible because you don't like it. Any progress that you make, any ability to get out of the cold, whenever you are cold, you are robbed of it, right? You hold no ability to really prevent yourself from getting out of the cold. Whenever you're incredibly hot, right? So mind-numbingly hot that you can't really do anything else. Yes, it's bad, right? And you kind of like shut down a little bit, but you shut down way faster whenever it comes to the cold. There's this sense of desperation until the very end. You know every second of it, right? You know every part of being cold. Every part of that is just something that you know, right? There's not really anything else to it. You are just going to be miserable, and you're going to feel yourself as you lose yourself. And that's terrible. You feel every second of it, right? Whenever you're too hot, you just can't really like keep going, right? Whenever you're too hot, you will eventually get to the point where you are. What is this guy doing? whenever you're too hot, you'll eventually, like, your nerves will burn off. Like, you'll stop caring. And I know that sounds weird, and I know that sounds callous, but it's true. Okay, then. It's true. Like, the body is way more adept to handling the heat than it is handling the cold, right? To handle the heat, all you have to do is stop, right? All you have to do is chill down, which is typically to stop doing what you're doing, right? All right, there we go. Which generally is to stop doing what you're doing. However, to deal with the cold, you have to start moving. And it's terrible. No, I just hate it. I just hate it. I straight up just hate it. I can talk about, like, anything else, but I just do not like the cold. It is so terminally unfun in every regard of it. Okay, then. All right, this is interesting. Okay. Well, he died anyway. He stuffed the Uber, but he died, so it doesn't matter. This January was really cold. It was really cold for me as a person, and also just generally. It was like the coldest, you know, summer we've had in 100 years. Winter, sorry, it's late. It's been cold. I've been cold for a while. And it feels bad. It does. It just feels bad. Because you feel this sense of, like, you can be more, right? And you dream of yourself more, but you're cold. And you don't move because you're cold. And you're just stuck there being cold. And it's miserable, right? And you feel every desire to be better, and you feel every urge, and you imagine yourself in these better scenarios, but you don't put yourself there. And you just stay cold until you die. And I guess death doesn't tend to be the current, end, I guess we should say. But it's definitely a possibility. It's definitely a possibility. And whenever you're cold, you're so awake to it the entire time. You feel everything. You go numb, but it's numb in a miserable way of being numb with knowledge. It's terrible. It's torture. Every part of it is. Every part of it is. There's no part of being cold that is any sense pleasurable to me, because every part of being cold is just a lack of movement. You know? It's a lack of progress. It's an understanding that you need to progress, but an inability to do so. It feels bad. Especially whenever you feel like you're the one who got yourself in the cold. Which happens a lot. You know, you're just going to work or whatever, and then now you're in negative 22-degree weather, and all the blood is drained out of your fingertips and toes and everything like that, and it's... yeah. That was the video for this week. A little bit all over the place and stuff like that, but yeah, this just wasn't really the best starting month of 2025. But it's set to get better. That's what that means, right? Thing about being at rock bottom is the only place that you can go is up. In theory. Until I show up with a shovel.